Tourism and travel is one of the largest drivers of economic growth anywhere in the world. Tourism and travel is also one of the largest categories or industries based out of India. Hospitality industry, which is part of tourism and travel industry, is quite large. It's estimated to be close to about $250 billion industry at this point of time. And its size is going to double over the next 10 years. By 2047, we expect this industry to be a significant contributor to the Developed India project that government has envisaged. If you really look at hospitality and how it is servicing today, there are about 2.5 million estimated rooms available in India. About 10% of those, say about 200,000 to 250,000 rooms, are in the branded hotel segment. The hotel chains that you and I know about, and you and I consume these products and services. The rest fall in the unorganized segment. Though both these segments are growing very fast. The entire room availability is expected to grow to about 4 million units in about next 5 to 7 years itself, to cater to the growing demand from the tourism and travel industry. The demand in India is also largely domestic. And we have huge amount of growth happening on the domestic front. Especially over the last 2 to 3 years, we have seen massive momentum happening there. But at the same point of time, the government is rolling out policies and doing interventions to ensure that international tourism also develops accordingly. When an industry is developing so fast, it naturally will generate a lot of demand for real estate. If you have to add so many million more rooms, and if branded segment alone has to grow from say 250,000 base to 400,000 base and beyond, it requires a lot of real estate to be developed. So hospitality as a catalyst of real estate ecosystem development is what we are going to discuss today. There are many subplots over there. Technology is one such subplot. How is IoT, how is AI, how are automation systems, how are safety and security systems going to play a role in development of this new age real estate solution for hospitality is one aspect of that. Sustainability is another part. A lot of hospitality chains are doing some very serious work around sustainability, and they would want their real estate partners to offer them solutions which enables them to deliver those solutions. So there are many such underpinning stories also around there. We'll be discussing a lot of those things as well. And we'll try to understand how hospitality can contribute to the overall growth of real estate in India. Namaskar, I'm Prasun Kumar and you're watching this new episode of The Property Show on MBTV, world's largest online real estate channel. To discuss this very, very interesting topic, I have got a stellar panel today available with me. Let me start by introducing the panelists we have available in the studio today. We have Mr. Karaman Yigit, who is CEO and co-founder of Olive by Embassy, and he is a hospitality industry veteran. We have Ms. Ashwini Walawalkar, who is CEO of TCFM, that is Technique Control Facility Management, which is a subsidiary of Embassy Group itself. And we have Mr. Saurabh Vuhara, who is founder and CEO of Alive. And Alive is a branded second home company. Now, gentlemen and lady, of course, we have, as we saw some data points, the growth seems to be absolutely hockey stick. The demand seems to be of absolutely hockey stick in this area. Now, let's begin by understanding what is the situation today, right? How much is hospitality, looking at real estate developers to provide them what different kind of solutions, and what is really, what are some of the drivers that really you guys see that is going to add to the overall real estate ecosystem growth. Let me start with you, Karaman. You are building Olive by Embassy, you are launching open hotels, and you are also getting other chains to India. How are you getting these needs fulfilled as far as real estate is concerned?
Thank you for having me, Prasun. Really happy to be on this panel with the co-panelists. And I think, at your introduction, you touched some really important points. I mean, today, India is the most populous country in the world. and one of the least urbanized. I mean, today only 35% of the population is living in urban areas, and 2.5 million rooms, and the estimates, as you highlighted, is about it's expected to grow into 4 million rooms. But just taking a step back, some other data points which I really find interesting is, I mean, today the urbanization rate is about 2.5%. So when you say 2.5% on 1.4 billion population, today you have 3 crore people, 30 million people migrating into major metros.
Right.
I mean, when you put that in perspective, India needs to build one Canada or Malaysia or let's say Australia, basically.
Absolutely.
I mean, every year.
Yes.
That is the kind of development that is required.
Yes.
And obviously, hospitality is a segment that facilitates this. I mean, obviously, residential, commercial office space, these are the leading real estate, mature asset classes, let's say. But a lot needs to be done. And with that said, the major metros are not able to handle this by themselves. I mean, what we are seeing is, the push in the infrastructure development, whether it's the airports, the highway connectivity, it's immense. And the metros are not able to take it by themselves. So what we're seeing is villages becoming towns, towns becoming cities, cities becoming mega cities, and mega cities becoming decentralized. I mean, you look at the major metros today, if you're living in Navi Mumbai, you live, work, play there.
There are multiple cities within mega cities, actually.
Exactly. Yes. So with that said, infrastructure is development is a slow process. Obviously, the urbanization rate, urbanization is happening much quicker than how infrastructure can catch up to it. But that brings an immense opportunity. And I think, one is obviously greenfield development, but the other one is brownfield conversions. I mean, today, when you look at our pipeline, today we have Olive Hotels, we have Open Hotels, which is our pure brownfield brand, and then we have Spark by Hilton. Again, it's a greenfield / a brownfield conversion brand. And we're seeing a split between 50-50. I mean, half of the projects are greenfield, half of them are brownfield repurposed assets. And when we look at how the city is developed, I mean, it was usually plotted developments on the periphery of the city, and these are 40 feet by 60 feet plots. Usually what we see is, first you'll see villas or bungalows in these areas, and then over time that becomes like the city center and becomes commercially more valuable. And then we see G+4, G+5 structures being put up on these, and we are seeing a lot of these 15,000 square feet buildings which are being converted into accommodation space, and lodging facilities, 2-3 star hotels, and if the site is big enough, and then you could put up a 3-4 star.
So you're saying there'll be demand for all kind of assets classes
exactly
within real estate.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at the income pyramid and the growing middle class, I think the urbanization story, I think these are the main themes.
Okay.
And definitely hospitality is a crucial part of this.
Okay. Ashwini, what's your take on this?
Firstly, I would like to thank Magicbricks to have me on this panel. Pleasure to be here with my co-panelist. So I think, I agree with what Karaman just mentioned. The requirement is growing, by leaps and bounds. And we definitely need a lot of infrastructure. But when I talk about, and I'm sure we'll come to that a little later as well. But, like we said, India is a huge people country. But to work on this hospitality industry, where we need, really trained employees who can give that kind of an experience as well, so that, we have people want home away from home when they look at co-living spaces or any real estate that gets built up, hotels, resorts, so how are we going to cope up with that? So that's a question definitely which is on top of, I think, mind of everyone, because huge properties, I think 5-star, 7-star properties are getting built, great infrastructure getting built, great architecture, but to maintain that, is where my concern would be, and I'm sure we'll talk about it a little later on that.
Yeah. So Saurabh, coming to you, you have been building second homes. How much of your demand is now currently coming from hospitality, and how do you see hospitality therefore becoming a growth driver for you?
Few points which my co-panelists mentioned, I completely agree. The way the migration has been happening. People want a better lifestyle. They want community-based living. Today, real estate is not about having that three-bedroom hall kitchen with a particular size and configuration and amenities. It is more to do with the kind of community and more to do with the kind of people whom you stay. And hospitality, according to me, just tags all this thing together. Because if people are serviced well, you will see the value of real estate also appreciating, and at the same time, it gives more connectivity to the people who are staying. And one of the best real estate projects across the country today are the projects where hospitality is the key factor.
Karaman, you spoke about brownfield development, right? And you're saying that, listen, that of course is an slightly asset light solution to this, right? That's one way to look at it. What are some of the other interesting models developing out there when more and more hospitality industry partners are working with real estate developers to develop new solutions? Because of course, greenfield development takes time. It is cost intensive. There are a lot of other challenges as well. But India will always be a mix of both of it, because we are still a developing country, and therefore we'll keep constructing, and new asset classes will keep coming to market. So what are some of these models that you see are developing over there when you are talking to real estate guys and trying to work out?
When we look, people migrate for two reasons. They migrate for work and education. And India is very mobile in that sense. And when we look at the zillennials, as we call them, millennial plus the Gen Z, which is almost like 850 million, more than half of the population in India. And when you look at the average tenure of work, these people change jobs about every 3 years, and that might be within the same city, or they might be migrating for work. So this brings about very different needs. And with that said, the biggest pattern that we are seeing is their needs have changed. Today, your traditional hotel is not able to accommodate the needs of the modern, zillennial, let's say. They're looking for live, work, and play under one roof. Whether this is a residential asset, whether this is a hospitality asset. So, at Olive as well, we're trying to cater to that demand. I mean, all of our properties have co-working spaces, they have gaming areas, they have social spaces. We design the properties in a way that enhances social interaction. I mean, today, the digital connectivity has isolated us in a physical manner. And real estate and hospitality actually kind of is a solution to that isolation, as long as it's designed and positioned in the right way. So I think, I think Saurabh and, both Ashwini kind of highlighted, this is where real estate, hospitality, technology all converge. And I think, some beautiful concepts are coming out of this. On another hand, I think branded residence space, where hospitality...
A lot of action happening there.
A lot of action happening. And I think, that is really growing at really interesting rates. And we're seeing a lot of hospitality brands or real estate developers partner up with hospitality companies where they will do branded hotel and residences. And, members clubs are coming into the same picture. So again, that is capturing all of these needs, again, under one roof. And I think this is reflecting on residential concept designs. We are seeing there a lot more lifestyle oriented rather than just a roof over their head.
Okay. Sort of interesting point about, this emerging trend of mixed use development, right? Yeah.
Sorry, I just wanted to add to what he, right now mentioned. Very interesting. If you guys would have seen Economic Times yesterday, there was a front page ad with Nikhil Kamath and Mr. Kishore Biani starting something known as the Foundry. Now, it's a 90-day residential program which they are conducting at Alibag as a location. The intent and the logic, talks it all. It is the flexibility which these kind of homes or accommodation gives it to them. As he rightly mentioned, it's the community, it's people coming together to enjoy the co-working space, incubation centers, food coming together. This kind of flexibility can only be possible if the real estate can be developed with the hospitality. So to me, it is a hardware and a software coming together.
Okay. That's a fair point. See, this mixed-use development that, is at the crux of it. How do you see this from your perspective? Do you think the future going forward is all about such mixed-use development where real estate developers partner with, say, hospitality or healthcare or recreational companies, brands, etc., and offer a wholesome solution as a proposition rather than just a residential or a commercial as a solution idea.
Yeah, I think so. Going forward, as you both were discussing over there, mixed use development or community based living or micro communities getting developed. I think so. That's the way forward. Government is doing their bit by providing the right connectivity and infrastructure. Pick any location. Let's look at MMR. I think so. If you look at MMR, Mumbai 3.0 could only happen because of the Atal Setu connectivity, because of Mumbai International Air coming in. So government is doing their bit because of the scarcity of the land in the mainland. And now, as Alive as a developer or Embassy as developers or other developers, it's our responsibility to build sustainable living there, to build living where mixed-use development can be developed so that commute can be minimalized, with the problems of AQIs and multiple other concerns coming in. It's very important that these pockets start developing, and which can only happen where there is full-fledged development being there.
Yeah, infrastructure has always been one of the biggest catalysts of real estate development anyway. Ashwani, I wanted to build on a point that Saurabh said with you. What kind of opportunities do you think this trend is presenting to you as facilities management firm, and what are some of those new trends that are emerging from a facility management point of view that are going to cater to such cohesive way of living of multiple different kind of experiences coming together?
So I would say that, definitely with the amount of infrastructure and the requirements that are increasing, the scope for facility management or hospitality is increasing in big way. Everything, I mean, now, like Karaman said, people are there not only as a community for social interaction. So people are not only expecting, for doing the monotonous jobs, which we have been traditionally doing, of maybe a cleaning or a security or basically maintenance of the whole premise. Everybody is looking at something which is going to be exceptional, everything which can create a differentiator. Even Saurabh mentioned, where the niche would be where people are going to get this different kind of service levels. So definitely there is a huge scope. Also, we have a huge challenge along with that, because we have to make a tailor-made training programs. We have to have people who can understand these needs. So we have people who are coming, they are also migrants, they are coming to new geographies, they are coming to new places to work here. People are continuously moving in our country because in their state, they may not find the right type of job. So they are coming to our different especially the metros, so Mumbai, Bangalore or Delhi, people are continuously moving. First is to adjust to those metros, the fast-paced life which is there, then to train them with the requirements, not only on those, but now, as we all talk about sustainability also in big way.
And that's quite interesting, and we'll touch upon some of these aspects as well. But let me just come to the technology part of it, right? And technology is something that has been a unifier of sorts in many ways, right? And it has also been adding new value, creating new values, enhancing existing values, and it's kind of an enabler for creating an entire new economic ecosystem per se. How are you seeing technology being at the center of this entire proposition of what we are talking about right now, of hospitality and real estate coming together and giving a experiential product to end consumers?
Today, I'd just like to ask you, when you last checked into a hotel, how long did it take you to complete the check-in formalities?
It took me about 15 minutes.
15 minutes.
Yes.
And did that person give you any hospitality attention or, really touch you?
Come to think of it, the person was busy looking at his laptop.
Exactly.
And his screen was not looking at me. For the 15 minutes I was standing and waiting for process to complete.
So this is a problem, and I think now we are looking at technology. How can we solve this problem where the clerical work that is done behind the reception desk can be taken care of by AI, where we can empower people to really focus on the guest itself. Welcome, sir. This is our hotel.
Yeah.
Our swimming pool restaurant is here. Let me
Yes.
show you to your room. I mean, I
Yes.
think that is the real hospitality. Telling them about the local social spaces, the best restaurants in the neighborhood, or, being really attentive to them if they forgot something. And that is true hospitality, where technology allows us to focus on the guests and their needs and to make them feel welcome.
Yeah.
I think that is true hospitality. So today we're seeing, we're in the midst of a technological revolution where especially artificial intelligence, generative AI, it's on an exponential curve.
Yes.
And I think we are a user of technology. We have a tech stack where we work with the best of possible partners in the industry, but we utilize maybe 30 different tools to deliver one unified service. But at the end of the day, that's our mission, to simplify this process. And instead of hiring receptionists and hotel staff who knows how to use a property management system, we want to hire people for their communication skills, their empathy. So I think this is going to change even our hiring.
Yes.
In Olive, what we are doing is, and this is a pandemic-induced innovation, where we operate. Our Olive hotels are on average about 45 rooms, and at night you have 1 or 2 check-ins, and sometimes it's a no-show. So you're having to man that reception.
Yeah.
You have a doer, you have a checker, you have 2 people,
Correct.
and then that person is waiting there all night for a guest who might or who might not come.
Correct.
We found that is really inefficient. And
Yes.
when the guest arrives at 1 a.m.,
Yes.
they're coming to a guy who's waking up, who's sleepy, or who's not really, his energy is
Best
not
of shape.
there.
Yes.
So video conferencing has become part of our lives. What we did is we centralized our reception at a remote management center, where from a single computer station, we are managing 25 hotel receptions.
Yeah.
And we're only doing this for the night shift. And that is when you have low frequency,
Yes.
and that allowed us to really squeeze out the inefficiency.
Okay. Karaman, technology runs on data.
Yes.
Data brings along with it the entire challenge of data security, of privacy, right? How do you foresee some of these challenges shaping up then? If there's so much of technology and there's so much of technology-driven solutioning that everyone is looking at, would that be one of the impediments then?
Privacy is definitely a major issue, but on that front, data actually really enables us to enhance service. I mean, today, especially in the age of artificial intelligence, through a Zoom call, today Zoom has a tool called AI Companion here. And that is able to give you an audio script of the conversation that is happening.
Yes.
And the AI Companion is able to do a sentiment analysis on that.
Yeah.
So for instance, we have voice AI. We have a high quality microphone at our reception desk, as well as whether it's an in-person interaction with our receptionist or at night if it's a remote receptionist. This is a separate tool that just listens in. And as I said, this is full, data privacy compliant. But over there, we've marked the frustration words. I'm not happy. My AC is broken. I need a water bottle. Any of these. So now you actually don't have to ask to the receptionist itself. It's enough for our guests to voice their feedback or frustration. This gets recorded. Then it creates a ticket out of this. And then this gets assigned with a timestamp. So, now that data is so valuable for us. Today, when a guest leaves the property and they leave a review on any of the online travel agents or any of the platforms, say Google, and over there, usually as hospitality businesses, we react to those reviews, whether it's positive and negative. And usually if it's negative, we are doing damage control. The damage is already done.
Yeah.
So what we are able to do is, while we have eyes and ears on the ground, but being respectful to the privacy of the guest, the data and it's allowing us to intercept the guest journey before that becomes a sour experience. We might have said no to something, and we might be missing something. I mean, logistically, everyone has issues. You might be understaffed, or you might fail on a service. But before that becomes a sour experience, the system can trigger, okay, send the manager. We said no to this, they didn't have this, let's make up for it. In one of our properties, the guest came in late and he asked for a toothbrush and we didn't have it over there. And then it was a big scene. It was a small thing that was important to him. And, we totally respect that. And, it's our job to make sure that we do that. And the system caught this. By the time I woke up, I saw a long message on my LinkedIn saying that this happened, I'm going to leave at 7. I need the toothbrush before that. Before I even intercepted, the system had alerted the team. The team didn't have it on the property. The team ordered a blanket. They got the toothbrush and delivered to the guest. The moment the guest woke up, he had the toothbrush and, he was very happy.
Wonderful.
About this. So, I mean, if you didn't have this...
So hotel management also orders from Blinkit. That's good to hear.
No, I mean, so if you didn't have this system in place, that guest might have left. And if the data wasn't collected and, processed and acted upon, then, we wouldn't be able to do this. So on that front, I think privacy is very important. Security is very important. And it's getting more and more challenging as AI advances as well.
Okay.
I mean, the weak points, the breach areas are becoming more exposed. So with that said, we just need to be on top of it. Try to be a couple of steps ahead.
Okay.
But no one is never perfect. But I think it's exciting what we're able to do with this.
Okay. Saurabh, technology, immersive technology, and technology is also experiential today. And there are all kind of things available also to build newer kind of experiences for guests. How much of these technologies you think is now being asked for, demanded by hospitality, companies, or you yourself are looking at when you are developing a new property, and these technology-based experiences that can be created? How many of these are you looking at to immerse inside your projects?
So, Prasun, I think so. The guest or the owners look at technology when it solves their convenience issues in our cases. So, we typically develop two kind of asset classes. One is our villa gated community. Second is our condos or apart hotel, as we call them. So when it comes to apart hotel as a concept, a lot of these owners or the guests who would eventually use it, for them, it is, having a flexibility of an apartment, but convenience of a hotel. So, when we develop this kind of asset class, technology plays a very critical role. So, we install smart locks over there. There is OTPs or pins available where there is absolutely minimal interaction. And at the same time, the cost is getting reduced because of the reasons what we already spoke about. Over there, technology plays an extremely, extremely critical role because, that guest or friends or family have come to spend time more at the outside property than within the asset class. So they just check into the property to go out, enjoy themselves and come back. So I think so when it comes to apart hotel as a category, technology enablers, a lot of IoT products, etc. come into play. But at a very contra behavior when it comes to our villa gated communities. Over there, it is also a lot to do with the kind of upbringing these guests are coming from. So, at their first or majority of them already have their caretakers, etc. So they are used to getting pampered by the way they have grown up or the way they actually live. So when it comes to our guests or owners of villa, they require an additional caretaker. So instead of one caretaker, we always have two people serving them. So one might prepare the food, breakfast, dinner for them. The other might just take care of their small errands throughout the day. And that is something for which the guests or owners are willing to pay extra as well. So what I'm trying to say over here is as I think so Ashwini very rightfully mentioned is the perception which these people carry when they are coming to experience these property.
Okay. Ashwini, you manage people who handle people as guests. Okay. Now, tell me, so much of technology, while it's the pros of it are many, right? Is one of the cons of technology that it will make the personalized services, which is the expectation. It will take the hospitality from personal to impersonal. Right? Is hospitality therefore about just using technology, having no interface, walking in seamlessly, walking out seamlessly? Is that what users or consumers expect, or do they absolutely expect interventions to happen which enhances their stay, which adds value, which kind of gives them a differential experience as well? Do you think there's a risk of personal to impersonal when there's so much of technology coming in our way?
Let me answer this question in two ways. Okay, so we have two types of people and two types of requirements. So when I say two types of people is if a person is coming like, I think this somewhat was answered by Saurabh before, was if the person is coming for business, if he's coming, for I just want to come from my office or from my meetings, just dash into the room, wake up next day morning, have my breakfast, really not looking for a lot of personal intervention, and where these technologies can be used. So when you're talking about, so if I give an example like, of two different hotels, so of the same brand. So maybe there is a Ginger Hotel which is serving the business properties, or at the same time there is a Taj which is a luxury. So there people normally go for a vacation or for celebrations, or some events that they want to celebrate, where the personalized services is more required. At the same time, the other perception is that people here in India especially, okay, pardon me, I don't want to hurt anybody's sentiments, but people think that because we are a people country, so manpower is a very cheap thing that is available, okay, and hence for anything and everything, instead of using technology, we can use people, because they are easily available, they can be moldable, okay, they can do multi work or multitasking. Whereas if you have a technology, they will be for a specific requirement, for a specific need, and you cannot mold that, okay. So if we put a digitalized entry for a reception, that same thing I cannot go and install it in cleaning up of a room. For that I need a different type of a technology, but a person standing at the reception can definitely go up on the room and help somebody to make the room as well. So this perception is definitely where we think is a challenge. But I think the right blend and the right understanding, the companies or the uh, places like a co-living or like they are, where they understand the need of the technology, and where you can blend this both, and there are people who are ready for those services, because people should be ready to pay also for technology. We think if it's a technology, people are not going to be there, so it will come free of cost. So which is also not going to happen. So if you have a blend of both, I think it can really work good for us.
Two misnomers there actually. That technology replacing manpower is actually less costly, which generally is not the case. And two, you rightly said, we have a lot of people available, but we do not have a lot of trained people available, and that's where the difference is, right? And that kind of adds to the complication. Okay, coming to the last segment, Karman, let's start with you. What are some of the global best practices that are there? What are some of the shining examples globally that one can look at and adapt?
So I think, today, if you look at the top global hospitality chains, Marriott and Hilton hotels are at the forefront of this. I think today, as Ashwini highlighted, the digital key in the hospitality space. Now you're able to just do your booking, just like on an airline. You get the floor plan, you're able to choose which room you want in, and you receive your key before you even arrive at the hotel. You don't even have to say hi to anyone. Usually in the West as well, they don't have security measures like we do. You don't have scanners, or you don't have someone searching you. You can just walk up to your room. I think that is a seamless experience, and if you need, the reception desk is always there.
Okay. Saurabh, what are some of the best you are seeing across the world?
So I think so. Things are changing. Things are changing. How within India there are two different strata of people, or various different kind of people. There are people who want people around them, who want that community living still being intact, which can be covered up with hospitality, technology coming together. But at the same time, you see the other strata of people who want that privacy, who want that exclusivity to be there. It could be the you, and I'm not to kind of break this pyramid structure. But what I'm trying to say is that again, it's a very consumer-driven choices which will define the right mix of hospitality and real estate.
Ashwini, coming to you, what are some of the best practices you are seeing?
So I'll tell you one of the practices which I experienced, okay, more than anything else was, and which during your question, Karaman did try to answer, from his experience right now what he is working on. So basically, this data which gets collected, the technology aspect on when we visit a particular hotel. So it has been, I think, around 3 years back, I had been to one of the properties of Ritz-Carlton, and they had, so I had some issue with my neck, and I wanted a particular type of pillow. And because that pain was quite severe, I called up and I had brought in along with me some spray, and that pillow was, basically it was a feather pillow, and the requirement was different. So yeah, it did make me feel comfortable. So next time when I went to stay, not at Ritz-Carlton, to the place there I was staying, to some other country that I went to, I got exactly that same pillow, okay, with the same brand of the oil spray that had so this is something which definitely is a part of technology, where the data got stored, that I was suffering through something and I may have that same problem if I visit this hotel. So I think this is where it becomes, very experiential, where you really have that wow effect, where the experience plays. So here there is a complete blend. Ritz-Carlton known for its experience with, people. Here it also had, an aid from technology. So I think it really blends well. So this was one of the experience.
And then we spoke a little while ago about technology, making hospitality personal or impersonal. Here's an example where technology actually made it personal and absolutely experiential for you. Yeah. So absolutely. And in the end, just a rapid fire for each of you. Okay. So Karman, starting with you, tell me one technology that you think is going to really stand out as far as hospitality is concerned.
Agentic general manager.
Agentic general manager. Okay, that's interesting. Saurav, for you?
I think so. The check-in experience.
Ashwini, for you?
I think I would say the asset management, because we deal with a lot of assets, and asset is the key because they are very expensive. So I think asset management will be a great experience to have.
Okay, Karaman, one piece of technology that consumers will be pretty wary about.
AI-enabled video analytics, I think.
One piece of technology that consumers may not be very comfortable with.
I think so. The privacy issue.
Okay, Ashwini?
I think the robots, I'm sure in the hospitality industry, robots may not play a great role.
Yeah, but robotic waiters are becoming a great hit as an experience. I have seen in Noida one of the restaurants, importing some robotic waiters, and I don't know how effective they are. I'm yet to go and check that out, but it will be quite interesting to see that.
Now I'll give you, if I have 1 minute, I'll give you one more experience. Okay, recently I saw with the Swiggy, having robots for delivery. Okay, basically I saw in New York. Okay, and the unfortunate part is New York is just like Mumbai. Okay, it's so crowded, and they have so much of sensors. So that poor thing is not even able to walk, few meters, and then it has to stop every time for the signals or people. And out of curiosity, people want to see what it is. And maybe the delivery, which was supposed to happen in half an hour, may be taking 1 hour for them. So not everything can become, with robots. So I think, yeah.
Well, that's why we are building flying robots now. Drones are everywhere. Yeah, and my yeah, absolutely. All right. So that's where we are. Hospitality is increasingly becoming one of the largest drivers of real estate ecosystem development, and technology is right at the center of it. All kind of technological solutions are being experimented with at this point of time to build new values, to enhance existing processes, to bring in more efficiencies, and of course, as some of our panelists cited through examples, to actually deliver newer experiences and better experiences as well. Well, if you have liked this episode, don't forget to like, share and comment. Keep watching MBTV, and thank you every gentleman and the lady for joining the show today.
Thank you.
Thank you.